Hi everybody, it is Christy. It is December 5th. I hope you're all doing well. I'm still not feeling well today, so while there are things that I want to get done, I'm not going to try to make content out of it. I'm going to make a video talking about my mental health and doing an update about that, and that will be today's video. So there was an update video I did, I believe in 2018. And I, even then I didn't fully explain my mental health. I merely alluded to it and said that I needed to make a video explaining more. But I'm gonna do my best to not make this terribly long. So we moved to the Midwest, I believe in 2015. 2015 and 2016, being away from my family was rough. And the sort of ironic thing is that first year I was back and forth so frequently. I spent roughly 6 months in Delaware and 6 months in Kansas. And yet I still was really struggling with depression. So my husband convinced me to see a psychiatrist, and to be honest, it was the worst experience of my life, led to the worst experience of my life. We both have PTSD from it. Due to this psychiatrist's negligence, you could never get a hold of her. The staff never answered phones. Should have really been red flags to like, hey, maybe not put my psychiatric care into this person. But I did because I was desperate at the time. And she put me on a medication and I had a reaction to it. And despite me telling her that it was bad, I was starting to have angry feelings, she said, stay on course, keep taking it, see how you feel in a week. Over that weekend, it did not go well. I think it was Friday, I called the on-call physician, and after talking to him, he suggested that I willingly commit myself. He said, go to this hospital, go to this specific wing. This is the nice wing. You've got the high functioning residents. You've got more freedoms. So I go, I have my bag of stuff. I've got my pillow. You know, in my bag, I've got, you know, a journal, pen, you know, normal stuff. Normal stuff. I signed the paperwork. Everybody's being real nice. Me and my husband are asking questions. All seems well. As soon as my husband leaves, flip the switch. They take my stuff. They confiscate it. They say, oh, you can't have XYZ. I'm like, okay. I can have my, you know, my husband can just take it, but no. I can't contact my husband. I can only contact my husband during these specific times from this specific phone in the common room. And, oh, not only that, but the doctor called this hospital and told them that I was having suicidal ideation. So now, even though I willingly committed myself, I could not leave. I was there on I think a 72-hour hold, and if I left, they would call the police on me. And because I was in this hospital now, it is on my record. I don't know, like, if it's on a medical record or what, but it is on something to the point where when I applied for life insurance, I was denied. I was denied because of this. So yeah, I was really scared in there. We did not know when I was going to be let out. I think I ended up being in there for a total of 5 days. And here's the kicker. Afterwards, for the pleasure of the experience, for the gift of PTSD, they also charged us $20,000. It was great. It was great. Oh, and also, in order for them to let me leave, they made me take this test, a test which I then had to pay $500+ for it to be read. And that is what they based my diagnosis on. But let me also say, when I was in this hospital, they over-medicated me to the point where I was a shell. My husband came to see me and I wasn't talking. The answers that I gave to these questions could not even potentially be accurate. It was a huge booklet that they made me fill out. And again, I was just so drugged and out of it. So anyway, due to that experience, I came out and I was like, I am never taking medication again. I was in the worst spot then. And those next few months were really bad. And then my husband found a therapist, just a talking therapist. I started seeing her. She and I worked together for 6 or 7 months, and then she convinced me to try medication for depression. That was the first thing we were trying. And I worked with the psychiatric nurse that was in the same office as my therapist. And I will say, my therapist stopped practicing during COVID. Otherwise, I would still be working with her because she was great. But the psychiatric nurse and I do still work together. So at this point, she and I have been together 8 years, I think. It took a long time for me to get my medication right. So I started working with a psychiatric nurse near the end of 2017 going into 2018. 2018, almost the entire year, was trying to figure out medications. And in that year, a lot of stuff happened. Really bad things, out of character things. And unfortunately, that is the reason why I don't go home. It caused a major rift between me and a family member, and we have not spoken since. And it is extremely difficult and extremely painful for me to go back home because of that. So, unfortunately, that means that I've been pretty absent from my nephew's lives. Our oldest nephew just turned 13. And I haven't been home in a few years. Our youngest nephew on my side, my husband has not even met. We used to go home all the time, but it's just so painful. Sorry. It's just very painful. I will say though, after 2018, I did make huge strides. We started doing EMDR therapy, and I uncovered the root cause of a lot of my issues. And that was actually really depressing, enlightening, and helpful, because once I knew what it was, once I had an answer, it relieved a lot of those feelings almost instantly. But the way EMDR works is you start off with a thought or feeling, and you slowly progress through these little, I had things in my hands that would I would shut my eyes and they would rumble, or I don't know the word, vibrate, jeez. They would vibrate in my hands. It basically is like triggering your right, your left, your right, your left, your right, your left. And it's wild. The pattern that your mind takes, you start off with saying, you know, I don't feel like I'm worthy. And then you're off on a tangent talking about something from when you were 5. It's really weird how things get uncovered. And I will say EMDR is intense. I would not recommend it for everybody, and I certainly would not recommend it to anybody starting off. I think that you need to have a good relationship with your therapist because it is very vulnerable. I will tell you, one of the biggest root thoughts that came out was that of my 10-year-old self. And it's heartbreaking because if I had just said aloud this thought that I had at any point to any adult in my life, they would have, even just saying it out loud, it's illogical. But this stupid, illogical thought caused so much pain. My dad died when I was 10 of cancer. And the thought that came out was, my dad died because I was bad. I know, like, logically, that is wrong. But that is the thought of a 10-year-old. And I carried that with me. And it formed so much pain for me. It caused me to be so destructive in my life. God, and it's just so painful. I wish I could just hug that kid. But yeah, that is actually what it ended up being. A lot of my root issues were the thoughts and worries of a child. Anyway, uncovering that and paired with medication, and not just medication, but I take my medication like specific times every day. Part of that is because I have to, because I'm on so many things, but really there was a time where, yes, I did take my medication every day, but my sleep patterns were terrible. So some days it would be 8 a.m., sometimes it would be 2 p.m. And that's not how you take medication. And certainly not how you're supposed to do it when it's something that you need to function every day. Anyway, this was a heavy video. I'm okay. I think in a lot of ways I am in the best place mentally that I ever have been. I am the most stable that I ever have been. But I don't feel that I can fully say that until I go home successfully without a meltdown, which I have not done yet. So, Winnie. Anyway, that is today's video. It was a long one. It was an emotional one. I apologize. I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, if there's anything you want to know more about, feel free to ask. But yeah, hopefully today's a good day and I don't feel too sick. We shall see.